so
Ooh,
pretty.
having fun there. I love Etta James.
What do you think? You think that she was all that and a bag of chips? What do you
Oh,
think?
at least all that in a bag of chips. I haven't heard that expression in a long time. That's a good one.
I was thinking, you know what? I was thinking about that song.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that song because I was thinking about the fact that we heard that song when Harry and Meghan got married.
That's right. I forgot about that.
As they were coming out of the church,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
was a choir that sang that for them.
That was certainly unconventional for a British royal wedding. But then they were a very unconventional couple, British royal couple.
Yeah. So, what have you been doing? I hear that it's been a nightmare. I hear that the floods have continued. Is
Well,
this true?
yes. I mean, personally, I'm safe where I am here in Los Feliz, but I've been watching the news. This is always a big concern here in Los Angeles. When we get these heavy rains, the ground gets so soft, trees start big, like 3 and 4 story trees start toppling over, mudslides, and this can go on for months when the ground is saturated. And so many people
Yeah.
put their houses up in these ridiculous locations, which are great for 10 months of the year till it rains.
Well, I remember that the official rainy season went till May in Los Angeles. I lived there for many years.
Yeah.
And it usually we have a dry Santa Ana's in October, November can actually be quite dry.
Yeah.
And the rains don't start until later,
Usually,
December, January, February.
Or January. Usually that's the worst of it. That's why I said 10 months of the year, because usually it's like 2 really bad months and that's it. And when I say bad months, I'm sure compared to what the rest of the country is going through, this is nothing.
But every major disaster has happened in March and April, usually in Los Angeles. And I think the reason why is because the snows start to melt and the ground is saturated. And it's actually when the ground is already saturated and then we get hit really hard in the spring, that's when I think all hell breaks loose, because we can't take any more. So even though it might not be as much range, I think it's just the fact that we're so saturated at that.
Well, certainly, that's always an issue. I was worried because what was it, 2 weeks ago, we had a small earthquake here. And, it's like a 4.1, nothing to be concerned about. But when the ground is this saturated, I would imagine that would magnify the dangers of an earthquake toppling down.
And they're expecting now. You guys got hit this weekend, or what exactly happened?
Pretty hard. In fact, it's raining right now. Well, actually, it wasn't so much this weekend. It was, I think it was the night before last. It really started coming down. I was cat sitting yesterday, and when I had to walk up to the house, I forgot to bring an umbrella or anything, and I just got drenched, soaked. It was coming down so hard. It's raining now. But La La Land.
Thank God we work from home.
Yes, we do. We're very lucky.
Well, what are you drinking? I'm having within our merch. Oh, you can see my lipstick there.
I'm having my usual grape soda. Something just very simple. Oh, is that lipstick?
Yeah, lipstick on it.
Yeah, there's lovely merch.
Debbie Brady.
Created by the wonderful Debbie Brady. Oh, wait, I just saw here an earthquake. Texas had an earthquake southeast of San Antonio. I didn't hear about that. Was that today?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's for the most part, I haven't been affected. I have a lot of friends back east. They watch the news, they see the floods, they see the calamities, and they assume that I'm part of it. And I have to just assure them, no, I'm safe, sound, and dry in my little apartment here.
Well, I think Topanga Canyon is getting hit really hard, and the PCC always gets hit really hard.
Oh, yeah, they do. Lots of times they have rocks fall down from the mountains, up from Malibu. Topanga Canyon, frankly, is treacherous to drive through, even when the weather is good. I assume you've been through Topanga Canyon.
Oh, yeah, many times.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Inn of the Seventh Ray?
Which one?
The restaurant, Inn of the Seventh Ray.
Where's that?
Topanga Canyon.
Seventh Ray. Oh, no.
Here again.
How do I get there?
I love remember Will Geer, who played Grandpa Walton on the Waltons?
Mm-hmm.
He founded a theater, an outdoor theater in Topanga Canyon that is still in operation. His daughter runs it now. So a lot of people will go to the end of the 7th Ray for dinner and then drive down the road to see a play. The Will Geer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. I might have done it. I know I've been to a place around there and I had some good Italian food.
Yeah.
There's plenty of great places to eat.
Oh, yeah. Well, this city is known for restaurants. I had a British friend who despised Los Angeles, but he loved the restaurants here. He said that was his main incentive for staying.
Oh, yeah. And the weather is amazing. I mean, let's face facts.
Yeah.
Well, let's be sure and say hi to all of our guests. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet to the channel, that would be awesome. Chuck, you want to say hi to people?
Well, yeah, I was just looking here. Francine Baker. Hi. You see, you had an earthquake in Missouri. Was that recent also? Yes, I think Rose was saying about the Texas earthquake several days ago. I assume that's when you're talking about 4.1, because that's what we had here in California, 4.1. Let's see, Carol, beautiful music and soul. Let's see, what else do we have here? I'm just scrolling down. Hello, Dr. Whimsy, Chuck, and everyone. Hi, Whimsy and Chuck. Hello. Hello, everyone. There's just so much love out there. I always feel it, and we do the shows now. And a lot of you I've even talked to directly on the phone. So I know I'm so appreciative of the love. It makes the show all the more special to do. Makes it more of a personal family thing.
We want to give a shout out to Joel Tilson, the floor director. If you have any questions today and your questions are not being heard, just be sure and ask Joel Tilson. He'll be sure to say hi to you. Well, we have a lot to talk about today. I'm sure you heard Navalny was assassinated.
Yeah. What do you think the long-term consequences of that will be?
Well, I did a remote view on it. We can talk about it later on after we do the Empath prayer. But I think that I think they were in economic trouble when they fired Prigozhin.
Yeah, well,
that should tell us just what kind of economic shape they're in.
Well, I think we've known that for quite a while, ever since all the embargoes.
Yeah, so I think if they were strong, they would not have assassinated him. Yeah. And so what he said prior to his death was, if they kill me, it's that we are very strong. And I think that one of the things he did when he was in court a couple of days prior to his death was he was laughing at the absurdity of the courts, at that they had no power, that their courts, that it was a monkey court. And he became a folk hero, and that was why he threatens Putin.
I think that was very apparent. Yeah, but the intention for quite a while, I think, ever since the embargoes began, was to devalue their currency, to destroy the Russian economy. So I'm sure a lot of that's just taking effect right now.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the reasons why Soros was hated so much by Putin, was because Soros said that the ruble was a terrible investment.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that caused the ruble to be devalued and made it very difficult for them to be a coin that was internationally recognized. Mm-hmm. So the ruble really has no international value.
Oh, no. I would think for at least the last year and a half, that's been true.
Yeah, so for that reason, Putin has always had an incredible animosity towards George Soros for that reason.
Yeah.
Well, would you like to do the Empath prayer, and then we can go in and we can start talking about other things? Sound good?
Talk about, yes, I'd love to do the Empath prayer.
Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen.
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 I love it.
So I wanted to also mention, for those people who don't know, that we do have a Book of the Month club for people who are subscribers, people that watch this channel. We do have a monthly get together on Taco Tuesdays. It's the end of the month. Our next book club get together on Taco Tuesdays will be 6 p.m. February 27th. And the book we have selected for our book club, which I'm really very excited about because it's very surreal, but I think it might be real, which is why I want to talk to this person. But it's Evolution Through Contact, Becoming a Cosmic Citizen by Don Daniels. And the premise, rather interesting, that there are beings, whether they're cloaked or they live in another dimension, that are trying to have contact with us, and that it is, in fact, one of the ways that human beings could potentially evolve and maybe become a multi-dimensional, multi-planetary species, because we're exchanging information with more advanced species. I don't know. What do you think? Do you
Well,
think
I just think that's a fascinating concept. And supposedly this has been going on for quite a while. Wasn't there a story back in the 1950s that Eisenhower allegedly met with space aliens? It was like top secret, but they were wanting to share vital information with us. I don't know. I've read that in some books, but I certainly don't know how valid it is.
Well, I mean, like when I put myself in the shoes of, say, I was an advanced species that focused more on cloaking than being violent, I would be very afraid. I would be very afraid of humans finding me, because humans are so violent, and I don't think we would have any way of protecting ourselves if we're a species that has not focused on violence but on cloaking instead. It seems to me like hiding is the main way they've survived.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well,
I'm looking
I
forward
always
to what you
love
have to
this. And
say.
one of my favorite things of doing our show every month are these author interviews. You choose the books, and you always choose a gem every single month that I love.
Looks like Debbie Brady has sent a new book in, so hopefully we'll have something interesting coming in for the month of March, which is my birthday month.
Yes, you Aries.
Yes, another March
Aries lady.
baby. Yes, another March baby. And I'm thinking of raising my. I didn't. I was thinking, should I even talk about this right now? I'm thinking of raising my prices.
Well,
I know. Well, you know me. How long has it been since we've raised prices for the
I
book?
can't recall you ever raising your prices.
Yeah, so
And
unfortunately,
I've worked for you for several years now as your assistant.
right. And you need a raise, don't you?
Well, I'm not going to argue with you on that.
You haven't had a raise in a couple of years. So basically, we're raising rates because of inflation. Well, you could raise too. So March 22nd, which is my birthday, the prices will go up. I don't know if it's going to be $10 or $20. I think Chuck, you and I are going to have a meeting to talk about what we think is appropriate for the family business here. But rates are going up March 22nd. So if you want to have a tarot reading with me, or a Wizio reading, or you want to see me as a physician through telemedicine, now is the time between now and March 22nd. Then after my birthday, unfortunately, prices do have to go up. Anything you wanted to add, Chuck, to that?
Yeah, you've always been incredibly fair in your pricing, and you make yourself accessible to people. As a doctor, I have so many people who comment on that, how affordable you are and fair. And you're very much in this not to get rich. You're in this for the people, to give the best you can of yourself, your education, your heart, your empathy, your wisdom.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's one of those things where I feel guilty, like even though it's been 5 years since we've raised you haven't had a raise in several years. So it's just like, it's time, but it's like, because I know everyone's struggling. So I really did hold off as long as I could. So yeah, so March 22nd, my prices will go up. Well, the next thing I wanted to talk about, is speaking of business, was I wanted to see if you had an art piece for us today.
Well, yes. Well, I had to look through some things here, and this is a portrait of an actress named Susan Peters in the 1940s. And there's an interesting story behind her.
Oh, what an incredibly nice face.
She was beautiful. It was New Year's Day, 1945. She was doing target practice, with rifles, it's kind of a hobbyist type of thing. And she was accidentally shot in the spine and paralyzed from the waist down. She had a successful movie career. She was hospitalized for a long time. She was paralyzed from the waist down. Lucille Ball wanted to name her firstborn child after her. They were very close friends. Clark Gable was a good friend of hers. She was only 31 years old when she died. It ended her movie career and subsequently her life, but beautiful lady. And this was a while back. I was working on an idea for a book of film starlets, women who never quite made it to full-fledged stardom.
Yes. Well, I think that would make an interesting coffee table book or something too.
That's what I was thinking of. So this was, I just had to find something for the show today, and I reached in my portfolio, and this jumped out at me, kind of like one of your tarot cards from your deck. And I thought, okay, I'll show this. Susan Peters. Maybe some of you know the story. Yeah. In fact, Lucy Arnaz, Lucille Ball's daughter, almost was named Susan Arnaz in her honor.
So, who shot her?
It was an accident, of course, but it was, I don't know specifically who it was. I mean, it was just friends out together, doing like skeet shooting or something on New Year's Day. It was just recreational fun. It was
She looks very British. I mean, she looks like she would fit right in with like the royal.
She might have. I think a lot of that was just the grooming of the day. The studios, like if a lot of the actresses back then, they had that, it was called a mid-Atlantic diction, where it wasn't quite British and it wasn't quite American, and the overly polished manners and the way of dressing. So maybe that's why she comes across that way.
Well, I think many of them were Protestant aristocrats who came over and bought land in New England, and they kind of isn't Far and Away about that, where people kind of.
Oh yes, that was the movie with Tom Hanks.
That class.
I'm sorry, Tom Cruise.
Right, and it was about this class where and you have Auntie Mame, where
I love Auntie Mame.
There, she's marrying in. Her nephew is marrying in to that Atlantic top drawer family. Oh my God! Everything was top drawer.
I stopped on a ping pong ball. Remember that? Gloria Upson, and she goes, "A ping pong ball." That's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Love that movie, and it never gets old, and it's still relevant today.
I saw it on the big screen at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood one Christmas a few years ago, and 3 friends went with me who had never seen it, and I think our sides were hurting from laughing so hard, and it was because it had clever, witty dialogue. No vulgarity, no obvious attempts at humor, just pure wit. And it was hysterical.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
Well, let us get on with the blitzing away. I know everybody. Yeah, I think we're there, hon. I think we're going to just go right into it. As many people know, I think everybody wants to talk about the situation with Navalny. There he is. It's a beautiful picture of him. He had lovely eyes. Yes. What do you feel about all of this? Do you feel that we are looking at civil war? Do you feel that we are looking at a potential situation where, it's interesting. You go into this and they're being attacked, right? You have bombings happening in Russia all the time right now.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. I put myself in the shoes of the FSB, and you have different factions. You have multiple factions. From what I could figure out when I went in, you have multiple factions attacking Putin right now.
Mhm.
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to create like the Boer War. The Russian FSB is trying to get them to attack each other and expose each other.
Yeah.
Like you may have liberals opposed to Putin that are fighting against the neo-Nazis in Ukraine. So what they're trying to do is trying to get the different groups to sabotage one another.
That's no surprise that you
So
use it as a weapon.
in the middle of all of that, you have Navalny, but
Yeah.
it does make me think about Stalin quite a bit. You know, if you look at Stalin's life,
Mhm.
he was so increasingly paranoid that towards the end of his life, he just killed everyone. He killed his rivals. He even killed his colleagues.
Yeah.
So I guess the first blitz that people want to know about, and we've talked about what it feels like to be Navalny. You know, it
Mhm.
was incredible to be Navalny because when I was Navalny, I felt like every day I had to act out what it was to die simply as a coping skill. And it reminded me a lot of what Tibetan Buddhists talk about, where you have to prepare for your death. And that means every day kind of psychologically getting yourself into a place where you face the horror of being murdered, or you psychologically, today could be the day I die.
Okay.
So that when I connected with him spiritually, it was a feeling of being very nonchalant about his own death.
Uh-huh. I remember us having a conversation like that a few years ago. But could it also, does it necessarily have to be a violent death? Could it be just natural causes death, but nonetheless just preparing yourself for that and being at peace with that?
Preparing yourself for that final, you
Yeah.
know, because when we fall
Doesn't feel
asleep,
violent.
when we fall asleep, we experience a type of death. When we let the breath out, right? That letting it go and falling asleep, right? We let go of consciousness. So death, they say in the Talmud, is 1/60th of sleep is 1/60th of death. So we have kind of that awareness of something similar to death. And we know that death is right near us all the time, right? We're always thinking about it. So for Navalny, it was something that the fact that he could die was something he thought about moment to moment.
Yeah. All I can think of is what a way to live. What a way to live, to be thinking about dying in every moment. But as you said, that's how he made peace with that acceptance. You said he was almost nonchalant about it.
Yeah, I connected with him and asked him about it. And the first thing out of his mouth, like the first thing I heard as him was, they did it. Well, there you go. We weren't sure if they would, but they did.
Yeah.
But in interviews prior to his death, he said, this is a sign that they are becoming very weak. And in fact, they are becoming very weak
Oh, yes.
because they can't stop this revolution. And I think that Putin's time is coming to an end, which goes to our first question.
We have a question here. Actually.
Colleen O'Brien.
Yeah, we're looking at the same question. How much longer can Putin hold on to power?
Yeah. So should we hit that one first, do you think?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So
I don't know how to phrase that as a yes or no for a pendulum.
well, he'd be gone within a year.
Okay. When we say gone, we mean out
of power.
Out of power. Okay. Should I tell you what I'm getting from this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I asked 1 year, I got a no, but when I said, is it a little more than a year, like say a year and a half or so, then it moved more to a yes. So it might be longer than a 12-month period, but not much more. What are you getting?
We have no choice but to declare war on Russia, unfortunately. That's what it's boiling down to, which I think is maybe what you're talking about. Because we're going to probably have to begin directly attacking Moscow. You know, it's interesting when you hear the feedback from Elon, going back to Elon Musk, who's the businessman, who's a lot of his business, like, what is that sound?
Well, it's something, I don't know.
Speaking in Congress about Putin, right?
Yeah.
Because he has a good relationship with him. It's an open, it's not a, it's, he buys metals, etc., for the Tesla, etc. What he said was that Putin had said to him, well, I'm going to supply 120,000 soldiers that can die every year, and I'm just going to exhaust you, and I'm never going to end, and I'm never going to end. And so are you willing to sacrifice the flower of your youth in Ukraine, and blah, 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 blah. And I think that Putin would not have used a American businessman to have delivered that message in the House if he wasn't desperate. I think it's bluffing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have this world situation, the world economy. So it goes back again to Putin fighting over these issues of the world economy, trade, etc. The opposition. Look at this. We're not in a good place. It's like up against the wall. This is Ukraine. So hopes and fears the strength of our opposition. I see us attacking.
Directly attacking Moscow.
Yeah. I think that NATO is going to attack Moscow.
Okay. Do you see
Because
this?
we don't have a choice.
Do you see this as going specifically after Putin? Much as like we would have been going specifically after Hitler in Berlin.
It's a slow, steady war that is wiping out Ukraine, and now it's hypersonic weapons that Ukraine has no way to defend itself against. And we can't assume that Putin is going to stop with Ukraine because he says, oh, I'm going to stop with Ukraine. I'm going to stop with Poland.
No, I don't think any of us believe.
He said that he wasn't going to invade Ukraine. He said he had nothing to do with October 7th, even though he was meeting with Hamas months before, weeks before. So I don't even know where to go next with these questions. Do you want to ask a clarification? If what do you want to? Where do we go next?
Yeah, where do we go next with that? Or should we do other questions?
I want to see about us possibly going to war with Russia. I want to.
Well, I mean, you're getting that strongly.
Well, Knight of Swords is a war card.
Okay. Do you feel it will be specifically the United States, or it'd be more like a United Nations, like a coalition?
Well, NATO would be a coalition, right? But here's the thing. I don't think we have a choice. Like, what choice do we have? We're just going to sit back and wait for Putin to start knocking off Eastern Europe?
Yeah, you're right.
I
think we were all thinking this in the back of our minds, but hoping against hope it wouldn't reach this point. But you're right. Putin is insane. He's delusional. He's insane. And it may be the only way to stop him.
Well, as Francine Baker said, they are adding more sanctions, and they did get something like 2-3 billion fighting. multiple factions. I don't like that Five of Wands. I keep feeling like it's the Boer War. I keep feeling like it's going to be Britain trying to get everybody to fight amongst themselves, and it's going to exhaust us. We're going to be fighting ourselves. Here's some kind of a truce or something. There's a concern that Putin could be replaced by someone even crazier, hopes and fears. A lot of this has to do with the economics. And final outcome, hammering out a deal. Over the war. See, it's all about money.
Yeah. Often it is about money, the economy. That's the bottom line. Yeah.
I think we have to take, you know what? I mean, we can check to see. So you're saying that Putin might be able to survive a year?
When I asked the pendulum, I got a no about his being removed from power. But when I said, could it be a little bit beyond a year, like 13, 14, 15 months, year and a half, then it swung to a yes. So I think what it is, it's going to be a bit more than 12 months. If this is accurate, what I got on the pendulum. It was
So are we looking at full out? I guess what people are asking now, if I understand where people are going, is are we looking at full out civil war right now in Russia? Is that what you're asking? Miss Saibans, Russians are in the streets protesting Putin and his wars, and he is arresting many protesters. Think the die is cast, he'll be removed. Well, I'm interested in if they will attempt it. They've already attempted to assassinate him multiple times.
Yeah.
Let's see if we're looking at full out civil war in Russia, or if people have become compliant. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's tragic. Full out civil war. I'm getting a yes. It's almost like there already is civil war going on. It's just going to intensify and become far bigger, but I am getting a yes on that.
So you feel like it's going to intensify?
That's what I'm getting according to the pendulum. I'm getting a yes.
Hey, can you pull a card on it, on the revolution? If we're looking at another revolution.
Let me shuffle these.
You know what? I'm going to switch to the Lenormand.
Oh, I pulled up survival. Survival, like this ultimate.
Oh my God.
Way to survive is to extreme measures such as this. But there just feels like such a dire energy to this card, survival. I'm curious to see what you come up with.
I feel like Russians are united in the sense that they are all Russians, but it's never been a united Russia. It was always, I'm Russian and I'm a serf and I am with this particular man's, this particular lord. So you had all these kingdoms that were part of the landscape. And then you had the Tsar, and then you had the church.
Yeah. Especially when you have such a massively large country that covers 2 continents. It's so big.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm feeling is that it's really hard to create a unified, what the Soviet Union was doing is it was attempting to create a unified, we are the Soviet, even though everyone was vastly different. And when that fell apart, it was a kind of synthetic knitting, similar to Yugoslavia, where they were trying to create this unity that didn't necessarily exist. And in some cases, it was downright hostile. So will they be able to unite? This is the biggest conflict. Interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, look how hard it is to even unify the United States of America right now, how split apart it is. And then apply that to a country much bigger than us and far more ethnically diverse. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's just what I was going to say.
I think that Putin's days are numbered. I think that the revolution will happen inside people's homes. I think people will go back to the basic beliefs of what their country was supposed to be. I see Putin in the casket. I see his death, and I don't usually see deaths. An offer for a new beginning. The rider going over the rainbow. It's also the magician or the power returning back to the home. So this is this idea of unity, and then somebody is in the casket. And then the star over Russia. So I feel like Putin's days are numbered. I really do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next conversation, we had a couple conversations that were going on here. People wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in Israel and Gaza, because there's a couple things going on in Israel and Gaza. You know, we had talked about the fact that they were moving into a Rafah, right? You know Rafah?
Yes, yes.
And that Rafah was the, let me see if I can find something to show you guys. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can show you this. This is probably the new Gaza if it goes in the direction that I think it's going in. And this is because this is what everybody wants. But unfortunately, Hamas is there. I don't know if people, I'm sorry if people can't see this really well, but each one of these is like a pod. Each one of these circles is like a pod, or it's like a tent of Abraham. And it's an integration center. It's where Israelis and Gazans will be able to set up business, etc. Yeah. This will probably be a road system. It starts in Rafah. To the left here, you can see Oasis Sinai. That's Rafah.
Yeah.
And that's probably the beginning of where the road will start.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
Isn't part of the aim of this to depopularize Gaza?
No. It'll actually create more space theoretically. But unfortunately, what happened was when they got attacked, if you look at the roundabout here, that was where a lot of the attack happened. You talk about Kibbutz Berry, etc. So if you create this kind of triple security and then you push Hamas back into Rafah, so the problem is with this plan, this is not a military plan, by the way. This is just the reconstruction. What the military chooses to do is up to the military. This is the rebuild. So if they choose to attack Hezbollah, if they choose to attack Iran, none of that has anything to do with the rebuild. The rebuild is being put together by the business world that just wants to put business and structure and education. So Elon Musk, the prince of Saudi Arabia, the royal family from United Arab Emirates has put money into this plan, etc.
The Oasis program?
Some version of this, yes. Yeah. But this is my drawing of what I thought it might theoretically look like. And this is the one that I sent to Mr. Musk to play with. And I told him, you know, you're free to, they're the engineers. They know more than me. This was just a basic idea from the anthropologists. But unfortunately, Rafah Gate is closed. And they've actually fortified this area so that Egypt doesn't want anybody coming into the Sinai. But the truth be told, if they did go into the Sinai and they were able to check for weapons, they could probably start this program faster. That's the great irony. Yeah. So now the problem is that basically Egypt is threatening to break their peace treaty if we push people into Sinai.
Yeah, because when I was doing some reading today, it seems like part of the intention is to put pressure on Egypt. And supposedly also to help Netanyahu stay in power, hold on to power more, reinforce him. You don't think so?
No, because the rebuild is heavily being promoted by the unity government, and that's the thing that freaks Netanyahu out, is the fact that everybody wants unity. We want a friendly border like Canada with Gaza. So the rebuild is all about how can we do that. So the tech world got involved. So the tech world is just waiting patiently for the area to be cleared so that they can start their rebuild. So it's not a political thing, the rebuild. Well, it's only a political in the sense that it's kindness over confrontation.
Mhm.
What's happening with Netanyahu, though, is that he, excuse me, Hamas doesn't want a ceasefire. Hamas doesn't want to cease fire. And so what we had said is they leave,
Mhm.
we exchange hostages and they can go somewhere else. But they refused that. And so now it's been to the death. I don't know. You want to throw cards on it?
Yes, please.
What's the first thing we ask?
Oh, what was the first thing we asked?
Is Netanyahu going to be in power much longer? Give him 6 months.
Do you want me to do a time frame on the pendulum? 6 months, a year?
Yeah, is Netanyahu going to be in power in 6 months? Because I can tell you, we want him out.
6 months. Oh my gosh, I got a no. Fast no on that. What'd you get?
Okay, I didn't even get a chance to, but are we going to have special elections in 3 months in Israel? Please say yes.
You want me to ask that?
Hey, I'm going to fly to Israel so I can vote.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I'm going to be voting for unity.
Good.
Like you guys are surprised. Like you guys don't know.
No, I meant you're going to fly to Israel. That's what I was surprised about. You were going to go back again.
Yeah, I'll be back in May, volunteering again.
Okay.
Netanyahu letter. Oh, the courts want to talk to him. He's under investigation again. You know what? Biden does not like him at all. He's under investigation. This is a theft card. I don't even know how. Look at this. Fox attempts to flee. He's in trouble. Yeah, I think he's out of there too. It's amazing how much he's gotten away with. He's kind of like our version of Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought that like beating people up and being rough and tough and my way is going to work. And look what happened. His way resulted in this crazy cult and it only made things worse.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So, Navalny's widow. Have you heard about Navalny's widow, that she's taken on the fight?
No, I hadn't heard about that myself. I saw that in the questions.
Yeah, she has. Bill Tilson, do we think that Netanyahu's engaged in ethnic cleansing? No, nope. It's not even possible to have ethnic cleansing since 1/3 of Israelis are Palestinian Arabs.
Yeah.
So no, that's not what this is. What it is, it's more that you have to look at it as North Korea. What would happen if you invaded North Korea? And that you would have a lot of people that are true believers of Kim Jong-un that would be willing to die for Kim Jong-un. And so while you're trying to help these people, rescue them from North Korea, they would be trying to kill you to protect Kim Jong-un. Mm-hmm. So when you've got a cult, a death cult of people that are dedicated, they want to die martyrs. Their biggest prayer in life is to die killing Jews. And they don't care if it's a baby Jew, any Jew. So this is a really weird Nazi cult. Yeah. And it's just, all you can do is get hold of them, disarm them, and try and save who you can save. Yeah. So the next question coming in from Joel Tilson, he wants to know whether or not we feel that Hamas will in fact hunt down and assassinate these heads of Mossad. I think it's a given personally, but
yeah, I'm inclined to think so. But Well, I mean, that's no surprise there. It is going in the direction of yes.
He's going to be offered to leave. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I think Benny Gantz is going to be our next president. Look, this guy's a thief. Look at that.
Yeah.
I want to just see, let's check and see if Benny Gantz, the unity guy, is going to win. Do you want to ask and see if Benny Gantz is going to win in the, by the way, it's not up to Netanyahu whether or not we can get an election. He's not king of the world.
Okay. Is Benny Gantz going to win the election? Election. I'm getting a vague maybe. It's not a yes, it's not a no. It's like it's still being decided by the fates. What are you getting?
I get that he wins and that Bibi is able to evade prosecution for certain things, and that bothers me a lot. Because the first is going deeper to the well for unity, and then he gets his wish. So Benny Gantz is likely the next PM, which is what Benny Gantz has a huge percentage of support now. It's like a landslide.
What do you think that vague maybe was I was getting?
Because of this, in the grave, the thief runs. And so even if you know what this reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
It reminds me of Biden getting elected after January 6th, because everyone's so happy when Gantz wins. But what the hell is this? This means that we may be having trouble getting prosecution for people that were negligent because of October 7th, and that's a problem. You know, because October 7th, he may be able to not be held accountable, and that's a problem. I don't know. Well, I thought we would change things up before we say goodbye. Yes. Do I think Elon following Putin's orders? Yes, that's the concern that Fiona Hill has about Elon Musk and other business people doing business in Russia, is that they're parroting Vladimir Putin and doing they like Putin. They're trying to help Putin. Whether it's because they're compromised or whatever the story is, and that's not okay. And I think that we should be very concerned when we have people, our business people, parroting Putin. I think it's something to be very concerned about. I don't see a female PM. I don't see, because we do it by seats, and it's usually the first seat. Actually, Elon Musk got nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize today, which is kind of what we were predicting was going to happen, because of his stance on democracy and his trying to work for peace in Israel, etc. So he was. I think it's premature. I'd like to see, in a couple of years, once some program like Oasis gets implemented, then I think he and Benny Gantz, absolutely, if they're able to pull this off, and I think that they will. I think that it would be great if he and the Abraham Accords and Benny Gantz shared it, if they're able to pull this off, and I think they're going to do it.
Yeah, but I got that same hit. It's premature right now, the nomination.
All right. So the last thing that we're talking about before we close today has to do with cravings and desires. Cravings and desires.
Transition whimsy.
Yeah, he got nominated today, but I personally think it's too soon.
Yeah, it is.
I think it was great that he went to Gaza. You know how I feel about that. But let's see. Let's give it a couple years. All right. So say you are, that everything is about health, right? Right, Chuck?
Oh, yeah. You and I know that particularly. That's
so
how we met in the health industry.
Right. So, you and I have always said that when you lose your health, you lose everything.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
So your first priority is always to your health and well-being, even though I refuse to get rid of my cat.
Or give up coffee, right? I'm laughing.
Well,
Remember?
this is English tea.
Oh, okay, I'm kidding you. I remember once. Remember we were doing the hair tests, and it was showing us things that were not good for us. We had
Oh
allergies.
my God. And I was eating way too much chocolate, and I was putting it in my coffee, and I was eating fudge, and it said no more coffee and
But
chocolate.
that was the thing. I still remember that day. You and I both tested for coffee, and you and I both looked at each other and said, well, that's not going to happen. We're not giving up our coffee.
We had this really hyper sensitive test that we used to do on people for food sensitivities and stuff, and it would catch everything.
Oh yeah, it was based on the hair follicles.
But you couldn't get away with anything. I mean, if you had a little bit too much garlic the night before, it would say garlic. I mean, it was almost too sensitive. I think it was almost too sensitive.
Well, it definitely picked up on our coffee addiction.
Yeah. So I mean, what I think we also, our food cravings change as we age, right? So one of the things I think about is cereal, right? So cereal is one of those things that as kids, our world revolved around cereal, right?
Oh yeah.
And one of the other things I've noticed is, have you noticed that cereal boxes are getting smaller and smaller? Is it that they're getting smaller and smaller, or am I just
they're going up and up? Oh yeah, I have noticed that. But what you said about for children, that makes a lot of sense. Because I was one of the earliest generations to watch Saturday morning cartoons. I don't know if you did that. Saturday morning cartoons just loaded with commercials for sugary breakfast cereals, which they just convinced you had to have. And so we'd all go to our mothers and fathers and go, I have to have Captain Crunch. I have to have Count Chocula, or what were some of those cereals? Fruity Pebbles,
cornflakes, Cheerios.
Those are actually the healthier cereals, but I'm talking about like the stuff, so much sugar. No wonder I had a mouthful of cavities when I was a kid, and it's a miracle I didn't have diabetes from all that Captain Crunch I ate. But cornflakes are good. I love those.
Well, I buy the big family Cheerios now, and I can get through one of those in 2-3 days. I can have 5 large bowls of Cheerios a day, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm still, but it's interesting, you think you're supposed to grow out of certain cravings.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was younger, I don't remember Cheerios being my favorite. My favorite was Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
I'm just looking at people who are saying tricks. Lucky Charms. Oh God, I remember those too. Oh, me Lucky Charms.
Yes. And do you remember being so poor that your parents bought the generic bags of the wheat puff and the rice puff, which was like air, these bags of air, and you would just shove mouths of air in your mouth?
And also they would bribe us as kids. They would put prizes in the boxes. So you'd have to have the cereal to have this cheap prize worth about a penny, Oh, I'm dating myself here, but I can remember a time when they were putting records on the back of cereal boxes. You remember that? Like the
yes, and
sugar, and it was a cardboard. It was like a plastic,
but it was also related to things like what was it? The Scooby-Doo.
Yes,
and Archie, sugar, da 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 da. Honey,
sugar.
Whatever those shows wore, when they would have a song, you could take it. You could play the little record song.
Yeah, did you do that? Where you
yes,
actually?
And I think "Sugar" was one of the songs,
and it really played.
Yes. I can't believe you and I remember this.
Oh gosh, I remember that. Oh, we were kids. We prized those things. Our poor
who put it out though? It was the Archies. It was the Archies,
but I remember also the Jackson 5.
Right, and the Archies. What were they connected to? The Archies were connected to some cereal brand.
Oh Gosh, I don't know.
There
No,
was
that I
the
don't recall.
Jacks, the something Jacks, and the oh god, I
Oh,
can't.
Apple Jacks. Was that the one with the bear, Sugar Bear? Remember Sugar Bear? That little bear with that turtleneck, and he was kind of
Yeah.
like a had
Well,
this
here's the okay. That was the honey bear one.
little
Honeycomb.
bear.
There was
Yeah.
a honeycombs one too. Yes. So I think the takeaway is that we got sold sugar. But you know what's interesting is that
Yeah.
cereals didn't exist until like the 30s and 40s. The first
Really?
was cream of wheat. It was for babies, actually. Do you remember the first to come out? I guess this is people in the what was it in the Victorians, the teens and 20s. It was Gerber, right? It was Gerber baby food.
Yeah. Yeah. Gerber baby
So
food.
Gerber came out with the rice cereal for babies.
Yeah. I don't know if you a
And
little
then
bit of trivia.
Wheaties came out, and then cornflakes came out. That was Kellogg produced the first cereal, excuse me, which was
You know, a
Kellogg's.
little bit of trivia for you. Humphrey Bogart's mother was a commercial artist, and she drew the design for the Gerber's baby food jar. And supposedly, the baby on there originally was little baby Humphrey Bogart. A little bit of trivia there.
Was it true or not? I heard it is true and it wasn't true.
Well, it was definitely true that his mother was a commercial artist, and it's believed she did do the label for the jar, but people assume because she was Humphrey Bogart's mother that she used one of his baby pictures. Now, I don't think that's been proven. Maybe we could look that up online, or someone out there could look it up for us. You just made me think of that.
Well, you know, you can also make it. People have made cereal at home to save money, and one guy actually was able to make his own Cheerios, like to make the circle and everything.
Yeah.
I love Cheerios so much, and they've become so expensive that I'm thinking, well, I should get the recipe and just start making my own Cheerios.
You should. I'd love to know how those would come out. But
Well,
you know,
the first thing he did is he takes the oats and he
uh-huh.
puts it through a blender and he makes oat flour. So that's the first
I
trip.
wonder how laborious it is to do this.
Well, he had a certain squeezer thing that it would plop out and it would make a circle, and
Yeah.
then he laid them out, and then they had to dry, and then he baked them.
Well, I try it at least once. You know, I was going to say I sometimes like to have cereal as a late night snack, and I love
Me
to do
too.
like I love to put vanilla rice milk over the cereal. It's delicious.
Really? I have regular milk.
Oh, try Rice Dream, the vanilla. It's good. I don't know what. Maybe it's not your taste, but to me, it's just the right amount of sweetness, and it's just a nice little snack at night.
Well, did you have fun today, my dear?
Fun, boy! What a segue from what we were talking about going to cereals, but you know, I had a couple of questions on here. It didn't seem like the appropriate time to answer them. No, I have never done Rosalind Russell or Jane Mansfield's portraits, but those are good suggestions. I should do them, and I may do it in the future. Sorry I couldn't answer your questions earlier. I'm sorry, Whimsy, what were you going to say?
Oh, somebody said my sage tea says limit 1 cup a day and not to exceed 30 days consecutive. Why? I don't know, Francine. People drink copious amounts of sage every day, and I don't know what that would be about.
Is that like a FDA type thing? Like with supplements, they say take one or more a day, do not exceed. You know, when we were in the health industry, we knew that was nonsense, but to cover their bases, they'd have to put disclaimers like
You
that.
know, sage, I just read another article about research on sage. It is just really a miraculous herb. And the Greek sage, it just does amazing things to your body. You know, I bought more of it, and I'm starting to use sage in many of the remedies that I create for people.
I'm
Yeah.
a big believer in just burning sage.
Yeah. Yeah.
It works.
Right.
You know, I have had friends who are so skeptical of that. I don't believe in this. That's nonsense. Okay, I'll try anything. Burn sage in their home, and they will tell me it's a miracle. The energy cleared, the bad luck I was having disappeared. I don't know how this works, but it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Life can get very heavy, and it's nice to bring something in that can kind of break it up.
Yeah.
Well, did you have fun time today? Did you enjoy yourself?
Ooh, I love doing the show with you, Whimsy. And
Yeah, it
go out
was a
there.
good show. Well, be sure again, everyone, if you haven't had a chance to share, like, and subscribe, we would appreciate it. And anything announcements you have before we close out today?
Oh yeah, just please, I have my own channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles. I do a live stream on Mondays. Please like and subscribe. And Sasha, my Siamese
Oh,
channel now called Sasha's Siamese Secrets. And she's saying, please like and
did
subscribe.
she make you cough the way mine makes me cough? No.
No, thankfully, no allergies to Sasha.
Well, every time I go to Israel, it goes away. So.
Sleepy right now. It goes away when you go to Israel?
Yeah, I'm not allergic to
away
it.
from Mila also.
The pollen, nothing. I had no. I didn't cough once for the entire 3 weeks I was there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's my cat. I know it's my cat, and the truth is, I have to throw this old. I love this, but it's just soaking in. This has so much dander. I don't want to let this. I don't want to let it go. I love this couch, though.
Yeah. Well, could you just do a deep cleaning on it? Have it steam cleaned, maybe?
Yeah, probably. That's what I need.
That might be your solution.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
All right, everyone, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye,
you so much, everyone.
God bless. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, before we go, we're at 37, close to 37,000 subscribers.
That's amazing, Whimsy.
And I just want to thank you also for helping with that. You've been a great
help.
Thank you. And
Thank
we have tripled our audience here on Taco Tuesday.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, can I say a little something? I hit 1,000 subscribers on my channel just about 3 days ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for just giving me this incredible life. You introduced me.
We did very well. We when you first came, I think we were at something like 19,000, and we're now at 36,000. Almost 30. We'll be at 30. Actually, we'll probably be at over 40,000 next week. So
good news. It's good news.
It's been good.
We owe it to everybody out there.
Yeah. It's I knew this would work. I knew this would work.
Well, I knew we were going to have chemistry. There was no question about that. We've always had it. We used to get in trouble at work for it because of our chemistry, our talking too much.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. We love you. Thank you.